Yes, he's back once again. Arguably the most iconic superhero in Marvel's roster, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Taken after this completely new and rebooted blockbuster film, The Amazing Spider-Man, which is set to release in theaters July 3rd, graces us with its own video game of the same title. Developed by Benning Studios, who are responsible for recent Spider-Man video games such as Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time, and of course published by major gaming publisher Activision. Although this is a video game based upon a film, it brings some promises and look to be recognized as a major improvement from Spidey's last two video game titles, and not just a game to hold you over until the movie comes out. With a sandbox free roam style of gameplay and Manhattan in the palm of your hands, The Amazing Spider-Man looks to be pretty interesting. Let's take a look and see. The story of The Amazing Spider-Man is pretty unique. It's a game said to be based upon its film, but it's not a direct counterpart by any means. The game's story actually takes place after the events of the Amazing Spider-Man movie, so there's no spoilers making you hesitant to beat the game before the movie comes out. With that being said, Spider-Man is already established in this game. Web slinging, high climbing, and ass kicking is ready from the start. In the story of The Amazing Spider-Man, you start off as Peter Parker, walking with his first actual love interest, which is not Mary Jane, but Gwen Stacy, into her workplace, Oscorp Facilities. From there you find a new executive of Oscorp, Alistair Smythe, is bent on creating more and more cross-species using research from Dr. Connors. Then all of a sudden everything goes wrong and these vicious mutated species release themselves upon Manhattan, and it's up to you, guess who, the Amazing Spider-Man, to stop it. The story actually does a well-organized job of keeping you interested in each character's motive. Shows the fun side as well as the dark side of being Spider-Man. All the crap that Peter Parker goes through every day when he puts on that suit, as well as the fun he has of basically being able to kick anybody's ass. The story does receive itself very well, and I'm happy to say that they accomplished that. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Manhattan is your playground from edge to edge. Bennings did a pretty well crafted job of making the city a lifelike version of what Spider-Man could actually be in. No building is too high to explore, and overall visuals of the city are well received. We are now set at a more closer over-the-back third-person camera view than we've seen from the past Spider-Man video games. The facial features of characters do have that generic look that you would find in most games, primarily focusing on action rather than character facial models. So it doesn't really serve as a crash to this game, because it's what you might expect. This may be The Amazing Spider-Man's give or take as far as visuals and whether or not you really care or not. When Spider-Man sprays his webs and swings across Manhattan, the string of webs really seem to have no destination. They spray into the air and just automatically allow Spidey to swing anywhere. Although it may serve as a flaw to some, I think of it as an easier way to travel across the city without any worries of round swing and may throw you off from where you're trying to get to. It preserves the fun in which the game is solely meant to capture. We are now witnessing Spidey back in an open world free roam that we've all missed so dearly. Side missions to helping citizens from getting robbed and putting a stop to petty villains and henchmen. This is Spider-Man free roam at its best. Before release, the combat was extremely compared to DC Comics superhero Batman in his Arkham series because of the adaptation of free flow combat and instant counters when fighting enemies. I'll get that out the way and tell you right now that the Amazing Spider-Man's free flow is nowhere near that of Batman's Arkham series, but it's not bad at all. Spidey can pull off some very cool moves in combat with combinations of webs and melee. My favorite thing about this new Spider-Man game is Web Rush, an advanced version of Spider-Man's vision, allowing him to flow quickly through multiple destinations when targeting. This thing comes in handy multiple times. For me, the gameplay's default sensitivity starts off pretty high and overflowing, so I suggest you turn it down a little or to your liking of sensitivity. Also, when crawling on walls and inside buildings, it can get pretty tough because the camera switches to the perspective of whether you're on the wall or the ceiling, which has thrown me off from being stealth multiple times. Aside from that, the gameplay is very fun and I have to say, somewhat addicting. What this game is going to boil down to is whether or not it's fun and whether or not it satisfies fans of the superhero. I'm proud to say that it does both. With the sandbox-style gameplay, solid story, and worthiness of being a Spider-Man game, The Amazing Spider-Man is a great experience with fewer flaws than expected. Bringing in free-flow combat and counter system, as well as web rush, these two things are a very nice addition to a nice game. I give this game an 8.5 out of 10. So to wrap this one up, I have to say that the game captured pretty much what I thought it would. Pure fun with one of the world's most favorite superheroes and possibly the best Spider-Man game to date. This is iDCL and I'm out. Peace. Like watching my videos? Stay in touch with iDCL by following me on Twitter at iDocLife. You get a chance to find out the shit I go through every day and gaming news and all that other good stuff.